We start with this story making waves on the chicken scene. And no, it's not another Popeye story. So Chick-fil-A will no longer make donations to charities with anti-LGBTQ views. The conservative chicken chain says they're restructuring their philanthropic efforts, not trying to be politically correct. Here's a statement a Chick-fil-A spokesperson gave to the Christian Post. Take a look. It says, "Our goal is to donate to the most effective organizations in the areas of education, homelessness, and hunger. No organization will be excluded from future consideration, faith-based or non-faith-based." So Chick-fil-A is the third largest fast food chain in the U.S. with over $10.5 billion in sales this year, a lot of that coming from the Black community. The company's conservative stance has not affected their profits. So were people really mad, Gwen, at Chick-fil-A in the first place?
So I think one of our great leaders for Black America said, chickens always come home to fry, roost, something like that. No, I'm joking now. No, but I think that look, chicken's always going to sell, right? And as somebody who literally went to college in the state where Chick-fil-A was founded, we were always going to eat chicken sandwiches. But where we are as a people and where as a moment, as like just Black, LGBT, et cetera, we're here to expand the accountability for these chains, right? Because it's one thing to boycott Chick-fil-A for their anti-LGBT bias. It's another thing to boycott them and not think about the fact that they employ Black and brown bodies, LGBT bodies, et cetera. So when you are not walking into a Chick-fil-A, like you're also cutting hours from, Black and brown bodies who are disproportionately, underpaid and, underemployed sometimes in the fast food industry. So I think that, while people are always concerned, I think people haven't always been paying attention to the red tape at the bottom of like who the overall, franchise owner is donating to, because there's Black-owned independent and LGBT-owned independent Chick-fil-A's, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't know where you're sending your franchise dues that all of a sudden they're funding Focus on the Family or funding Salvation Army that doesn't want to do anything for LGBTQ youth or actually everything against these people's existences. So I think, I'm happy to go get a chicken sandwich finally. It was a long, hard, tough road.
So this has changed your mind. Now you will patronize Chick-fil-A.
I mean, look, I think it's kind of alleviated a consciousness, right? I think that there's a million brands. Where we are in this industry, everything that is touched by capitalism, everything that is touched by consumerism is tainted to a certain extent. So I think with this nod, we'll see if it comes, to play, because as the CEO of GLAAD alluded to, like, we don't know. Like, they've made these promises before. Like, you don't know until you get down to the bottom line of who's in the boardroom at the table deciding where to send the sponsorship check. But I think that this is a great moment. I think that other companies, if they're smart, they'll kind of listen and see that you can shift the social and legislative tide in this way, and we'll see. And I would love to get back to the Polynesian sauce. So
there you go. Throw that in there. So, Nick, do you believe that this is just a matter of capitalism? I mean, they said they're not trying to be politically correct here, but what do you make of it?
Yeah, so I think the beginning of this was in 2012 when the COO basically said that gays should not be married. That's what he said, and then there was a critical mass of folks basically having an uproar. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's a reminder that our dollars really matter. Where is our money going? Mm-hmm. So we can like the chicken sandwiches, but I think we should also have a consciousness about where our dollars go. To me, I don't see a big difference. You can pull out $1 million from a charity, contribution, but the reality is, after 2012, their profits went up by about $1 billion+ after the controversy. So where are we spending our money, and do we really care? And is it just a segment of the population caring about the civil rights of LGBT folks? We all need to care. So to me, it's a wash.
Wow. So considering the chicken wars this summer, do you think this is an attempt by Chick-fil-A to gain some ground here?
Oh, I mean, look, everyone is trying to, like I said, when the chickens come home to roost, everyone's trying to, position their hen house, okay? And I think that between the Chick-fil-A and the other, the chicken wars, of course, they're trying to go for this publicity and this soundbite. I mean, bite to be, ironic. but people are literally, people are watching, right? And people are still going to buy, but like the way the money is going, I think it's a good nod, but we need to continue to hold accountability for those measures, right? Who are you donating to? Who are you supporting? Are you pushing anti-LGBT, hell, anti-Black, anti-immigrant policies when this is literally who's walking in your doors, who's literally frying the chicken and taking the orders.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the Salvation Army earlier. They'll be losing out on some money, but they do help about 30 million Americans every year of all races and all sexual orientations.
So let me say, I have a gripe with that because what you don't know is LGBT activists. Before I left Atlanta, I organized for LGBT against Black LGBT youth homelessness in Atlanta specifically, like organized to get money for the city of Atlanta to pay attention to that. And the Salvation Army specifically turns down beds to children who come from same-sex homes and or any LGBT, like they specifically will not, and the irony of that, of an organization who is literally, who's determined for salvation. I thought it was come as you are. So I don't know. I think it's good that they lost that type of money. I'm not saying, I think, at the same time, I don't want to play, politics with people who actually are getting help regardless of which side of the spectrum they land on, because all those people that they help still need to be helped. But they should also know, and that their conscience should also come with those dollars, especially these religious organizations that don't pay tax.
Well, Chick-fil-A might be changing the way they spend their billions, but one thing will stay the same. A spokesperson says they will remain closed on Sundays, in case you were wondering.